Well, hi, welcome back. So, today is a little different. I'm going to be starting off with like a tour of what I've done, and then I'm going to jump into like a speed build of the dark ride that I'm working on. I decided to change it up because I don't know, I don't think I'm going to be filming a lot of speed builds for this park. It was a good idea in the beginning, but then I realized that it takes me a lot longer to build things than it does The Sims, obviously, and so I don't really know if it's the best, like, medium, I guess, to deliver all of that. So, I don't know. A lot of people seem to be fine with doing speed builds in this game. Me, not so much. So, it just takes me a while, but it's fine. So, still working on the Main Street area. I got it more blocked out than I did before, which is good. Still haven't worked on the shutter building yet, but I've turned this a little bit inward, so it's a little bit more of like an angle. So it kind of directs you, that's the dark ride. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But so the castle hasn't really changed. It's still kind of just a big facade. So the track just kind of ends like in the ground. So I need to get on that. But the main thing I was working on was the dark ride and the Main Street facades. And I was just trying to get down like a good theme for what I wanted, and I think I have it? I think so. I worked on this little facade right here. If the lighting wouldn't be so terrible, you could actually see it. Nope. 3? No, it was 3. Let's go 1. That's somehow worse. Okay. Let's go like 8. There we go. Yeah, it's just like a neat. I thought it was kind of whimsical, and it's like there's gonna be a windmill right over there, so you kind of look over and you're just like, wow, there's like a witch's hut and a windmill, and there's gonna be more like fantasy buildings. These buildings I did build as part of the Main Street, but I think they're a little too colorful. So, they're like witches' huts. I was trying to make them kind of like, fantasy, but they're a little too fantasy, I think, for a Halloween park. So they're gonna be over here, which is gonna be kind of like a kiddie area, which I think is gonna be more colorful with like pumpkins and not as spooky, but still spooky. So that's that area. I did put down a little water wheel just in case I wanted to build like a little grist mill or something. This hasn't really changed all that much. I did add this little area right here, which I was gonna make a restaurant. I'm not sold on the facades. They need a lot of work, but I do like this little area where you can kind of sit like behind, like next to Main Street, and just kind of look out over this area. So that's a nice view. There will be trees and things, so you won't see just like a bunch of grass right here. There'll be like a border eventually. And yeah, just working on some more facades, working on this oddly phallic-shaped Main Street. So I think I'm going to have them kind of go out this way, and then I'm going to have like the main entry building kind of sitting like here-ish. So it's going to be kind of not off-center, but it's going to be a little bit like not perfectly lined up. And I might even tilt it this way. Well, no, I won't. That's stupid. Not really sure how I'm gonna do like a backstage area. I know like over here I can do a backstage area. Hang on, I should probably, because I know like my screen doesn't record my mouse, so I'm gonna use like, I don't know, a piece to gesture with. Let's do a piece of pizza. So I was gonna do like the facades here, and then like backstage over here-ish, and then I can have like more facades like over here, and then if I have the entrance right here, it can easily just kind of like hook into the backstage. And then yeah, I'm kind of debating if I do another land right here. I'm thinking of like a little spooky carnival maybe. I did add the carousel, and I was going to add a chair swing, but I think I'm going to add some more facades like right here. So this will be a building eventually, and then it'll lead to backstage. But one of the major things I was working on was my dark ride, and this isn't the final placement. This is just so that when I build it, it's on like an axis or an axes, whatever. So it's like all the pieces placed down straight, not like off by like 15 degrees. It's just for my own sanity, so I don't have to keep on turning things. But I think, what lighting? I don't know. 11 p.m. Too dark. Let's do like 3. There we go. Again, it's not finished. It's just like a rough outline of what I wanted to do. I do have a lot of the show scenes finished on the inside, which is what the time lapse is going to be today. But I think it's really neat. There's a lot happening. There's a lot of audio animatronics that I love. I tried to hide a light with a chair. It doesn't exactly work, but that light should not be there, but that's okay. It's because it's sticking out. And I tried to do like I tried to do like a stage trick, you know, how like back in Shakespearean times the stages were like tilted so you could actually see more if you were in like the crowd. So I thought that was a good idea here, but it's very clearly not, because it's not a big enough space to have something tilted like that. So I'm just gonna make it flat again, but it was a good idea. But anyway, so we go through like a little check-in area, and you kind of see like a pirate, and you're like, oh, and then there's like a little goblin guy. I think he's kind of cool. And then we have like a door, and this will enter like the library room. And these are supposed to be like gargoyles, but I'm using them as like heads on the wall, which I thought was kind of neat. And I'm using these pots in a lot of the rooms because I've never used them, and they have really strange colors. And I don't know, I just think that they would be kind of cool to incorporate in the build where I can, or where I think they're kind of like applicable. So, applicable? Is that a word to use? I don't know. Where they would be useful, I guess. And then you go through here. I think you go through backwards, and then there is an archer, and then he's going to fire the arrow through the window, and that's when you kind of start like the whole like, oh, this is the villain's land. And then there's like the villain's tavern, and this is all inside like a hotel type thing. So this is like the big tavern area where you can find like a knight or a Shrek, I guess. There's like a cowboy. There's some pirates over here with like a bunch of treasure. There's like I don't know, this guy firing a gun because they're having like a little fight over here. So actually, I'm surprised that this is here, because he wouldn't have shot this and it would have like exploded. It's fine. They're just kind of chatting, having a fun time. It looks a lot better at night, but I think I'll leave like the dramatic stage lighting for the POV. There's even like a little guy back here hiding, and then I think it's really kind of neat that you can see like the archer through this archway. So I know that I definitely want this, because this is an outside portion, this loop that comes around. So I think it's going to be like a rocky cave type situation, and then I think this will be like a cave, I think. And then this is just kind of like rocks and stuff. And then like the queue is going to be kind of going in and out of here. So, but anyway, yeah, I think it's pretty neat. Have some really cool sight lines. Don't know what's really going to go down here yet. Probably nothing. Because, well, I don't know. That's still a pretty cool view of the castle and everything in Main Street, but I don't know. I don't think anything. I think I'm just going to keep it to 3 lands, keep it to 1 dark ride, 1 coaster, and like a little kiddie land in the Main Street, which that's plenty. That is good. So, anyway, I guess I'll turn it over to voiceover. Yeah. You guys can click off if you want. I think I'll be talking about like D23 and all that news and stuff. It's kind of crazy. I've gotten back into like the theme park Twitter community, and it's bonkers right now. Good and bad bonkers, but I'll talk about it. But yeah, I don't know. So this is just an update. If you want to stay for the time lapse, it's coming. If you don't, fine by me. We're good. So, yep. Okay, welcome back. It's been a while. This video was actually already uploaded to YouTube, and I took it down, and now I'm re-recording it because I was just unhappy with it. I know I said I was going to talk about like D23 in this video. I don't know what else there is to be said about D23 other than it's exciting that new things are happening. And I didn't expect the domestic parks to get so much, which, you know, I think was idiotic on my part because I was like, well, they focus on the other parks so much, so why would they focus on these ones? I'm like, yeah, well, they have in the past, so they're kind of like rotating, so makes sense, but I don't know, I guess I'm surprised they didn't like announce a new hotel. That's what I'm the most surprised about, I think, is just no new hotel, which is interesting. Because they love hotels at Disney World. But, yeah, no, I don't know. So, I think, well, like, I guess to stay on D23 for a tiny bit longer, I've recently, like, you know, gotten back into, like, theme park Twitter and, like, theme park announcements. And it's interesting that everyone seems to have the same reaction that I did, which was first, like, D23, yeah, like, what are they gonna do? I'm excited, let's see what they're gonna do. Let's try to do, like predictions. Let's see what like, people are saying. Let's try to, like, form, like, a good, like, educated opinion or guess on what they're gonna try to do. Okay, let's try and do that. And then everyone did, and then it was like some things came true because they were rumored and, you know, whatever, but most things, like Cars Land in Frontierland, and then they said they were destroying Rivers of America, and now, like, the red trolley car in DCA is going away. Oh, excuse me, going away. It's kind of like, everyone is kind of like, wait, hang on, wait, what? So, I'm like, okay, so, I mean, at least it's not just me who's, like, you know, a little confused by everything. Good confused, I guess. Bad, I don't know. It can go both ways, because I'm kind of like, it's exciting that we're getting new stuff, obviously. But it's confusing in the way that they're doing it, if you get what I mean. Because, like, they were like, oh, what's beyond Big Thunder? And they're like, just kidding, it's actually going to be in front of Big Thunder. And so it's kind of just like, well, you guys have all that land back there. I mean, and, like, I don't know, maybe they couldn't build on it because it's, like, unsuitable, or it's swampy, or I don't know. There's not really much infrastructure back there. There's not even, like, a substation that they'd have to move, because at Epcot, behind the French Pavilion, there was a massive, like, electrical substation. And so when they built Ratatouille, they just kind of built around it. So, like, you know, they have come up with other solutions to things. But no, I don't know. I'm just like, it's interesting because, like, yeah, they were like, we have a blessing of size, or whatever the hell Walt said, right? And then they're like, no, just kidding. We're going to build it on top of another attraction. We're actually going to take out that attraction. And then I thought it was interesting, right? Because I've been doing a lot of, like, I've been watching a lot of, like, old theme park, like, ride vehicle POVs, kind of, and, like, history videos. And one of the ones I was watching was 20,000 Leagues. And that is very similar to Rivers of America, like, going away. Because it was, like, a big body of water. There was an attraction. I mean, granted, 20,000 Leagues was, like, a ride in and of itself, and it was, like, this big submarine ride where you go past, like, a lot of different show scenes. It was gone by the time that I made it to Walt Disney World for the first time, so, you know, I have, like, no childhood memories of riding it. But, people loved it, and it was this massive body of water with this big show building. And I'm like, huh. So, Walt Disney World, they built it in Fantasyland, so Walt Disney World halved, well, like, Fantasyland, just like how they're kind of having, like, halving, cutting in half, Frontierland, like, the size of it. I mean, they did build, new Fantasyland, over top of 20,000 Leagues, and like I do like that part of the park. It's good. I like it. But I think they didn't leave themselves open for expansion back there, I guess. It kind of just like is a wall. They built like a road, and then they built like a wall. So I mean, they kind of block themselves in. I mean, you know, so that they have like a road, a wall. They made like a hard edge to the park. I think I don't know where. I think the train goes beyond. So they didn't even build to the train line or pass through the train line. They kept the berm in the back, which I think is interesting. But they can't really build like out, so that's fine. What they have is nice. It's super nice. They took away Toontown though, which I'm still salty about. I love Toontown. It's like my favorite themed land in any park. When I went to Disneyland, I loved Toontown, and they were building the big what is it called? Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway. They were building that when I was there, and it was this massive building. So I was like, oh shit, okay. But no, it looks I'm glad that they are like keeping Toontown in California. They still have Toontown in Disneyland Tokyo. But no, I don't know. It's just they do expansions really well. I'm just trying to piece together what we have had in the past, what has been replaced, and like the reaction to it. And I'm kind of like, as much as I was like, you know, whoa, and then I was like, what the hell? And then I was like, well, and now I'm kind of like, actually, this could be good, maybe. I know, I've come like full 360. I don't know. I'm trying to be like positive about it, because a lot of the internet is everyone hates it. And so I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm trying to like it. I'm trying to like it as much as I can, because it's just, that's what's gonna happen. So, you know, why hate it before it's even here, I guess. I mean, you can hate it based on principle, absolutely, but, you know, the cars in Frontierland don't really make sense, especially in front of the Haunted Mansion. But, I mean, if they do the landscaping really well, and if they make sure it's done really well, then hopefully it'll be good. If the ride is really short, though, that'll be an issue. Because then it'll be like you replace this attraction that was like this long, slow thing with just a quick little cash grab, which is what this is. But I'm trying to give him like the benefit of the doubt, you know. I'm trying to not be negative all the time. I'm trying my best. It's hard. It's fine. But no, I don't know. So Universal's doing some cool things. They're building like a little kids park in Frisco, Texas, which I was like, oh, that's interesting. And now we have like more pictures of it, and I'm like, yeah, that's a really good idea. I'm like, why hasn't Disney done this? But then on the other hand, I'm kind of glad that Disney hasn't done that, because I'm also just like, well, if they expand into smaller theme parks, I know that they would charge just as much to get into those tiny theme parks as you would the normal big. So I'm just like, eh. What I'm saying is, I just don't trust Disney to not be realistic in their pricing. They're so crazy now. Not that Universal isn't as well, because they're also raising their prices. And theme parks are just like crazy expensive now. I mean, they kind of always have been, but it's kind of like when you went, you expected more and you got more. Like the Magical Express for free from the airport to the hotel, and there were a ton of things. I can't think of it off the top of my head, obviously, but it's just, I think a lot of people, and me included, are just like, there's not really much value anymore in going to the theme parks, because they're just so expensive for what you get. And what you get is just like a hot day in the sun waiting in line to ride a ride for 2 minutes, and then that's just, you repeat that throughout the day until you're tired and exhausted and want to go home. So yeah, I don't know, maybe theme parks are just like not my thing anymore. I think I'm very quickly realizing that. But theme park design, on the other hand, themed environments that you can walk around and be in, that's my shit. So, which, by the way, Planet Coaster 2, I don't know much about it, and like I feel like I should learn and do my like due diligence into what the game is gonna be about. I know that there's water parks. That's it. It's all I know. That's literally it. There's water parks now. Am I excited? Absolutely. Because the like what was it? The Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 Soaked was like one of the best expansions they ever made. So, you know, I'm excited for that. But I'm also just like, Planet Coaster, I love it, and I love Planet Zoo. But I mean, I would be lying to myself and everyone if I didn't say that I got really overwhelmed sometimes playing this game. There's just like there's no grid, which I know you're like, well, obviously, but for me, like, I come from like The Sims, and in like the old roller coaster games with grids. As much as like the buildings have grids and everything like that, it's the I'm not even sure. It's like trying to make things line up properly, trying to make it just look right. It's all, things are always going to be off. I don't really know how else to put it, but like in my head, nothing in this game is ever going to be perfect, and maybe that's the point. I have such a hard time making things that I'm happy with in this game that I stick to, because I always get to a point where I'm just like, well, this was good. Had a great time, but it's not perfect. It's no longer what I had in my head, because this doesn't line up perfectly with that thing, so this thing does not get, you know, it's like, I don't know what it is. I think I overthink things. Maybe that's like a symptom of like perfectionism or OCD. I don't know. I'm not gonna go too far into it. I don't really care. But I just think it's interesting that I love this game, but sometimes I'm just like, I need to put it down for a minute, because it's like, god damn, it's just like, yeah, I get so overwhelmed trying to make things look a certain way, and then when it doesn't happen because it's like lack of pieces, or just, I don't know, not knowing how to fit things into the existing whatever, I don't know. I get overwhelmed and just like, this is a lot to try to whatever, so it's just a me thing. Happens in The Sims 4 though, you know, so. But not to this extent. I think Planet Coaster is limited, but it's limited in a good way. So, if that makes any sense, if you get what I mean. Which, like, I'm not even sure if I know what I mean. It's okay. I'm rambling at this point, which is what I always do. It's fine. I don't know. I've recorded and re-recorded this voiceover a bazillion times, so I'm not gonna re-record it. This is just gonna be posted. So, yeah, voiceovers are hard, man. I don't know why. They just have been. I'm not confident, or I'm not good at speaking for like 20 minutes at a time, which is hilarious because like I'm a chatterbox. I don't stop talking at all. So it's a funny issue to have, considering it's like shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, I don't know. So, alright, so the speed build's coming to an end. The video's coming to an end. This video's coming out a little late, but the next one will be up soonish. I'm hoping to get like these up on Thursdays and then my sim stuff on Tuesdays. Gonna try to like keep it a little slow. I kind of ran into things when I was, you know, really excited about posting, and then I got sick, and so yeah. But see you on Thursdays, I guess, right? For these things? Yeah. See you then.